Hello everybody, welcome to Cemetery Views. I'm Bugs Moran and I'm at Oak Ridge Cemetery in Springfield, Illinois. I wanted to show you this first monument here. As you can see, the Lincoln Memorial Tomb is in the distance, and this monument right here has an interesting backstory. This is Roy Bartelli, died in 2003. Roy Bartelli was an accordion player, a good accordion player. He purchased this plot before he died. He purchased this plot right here and put this above ground crypt right here. So what he started to do, since he played the accordion and President Lincoln's tomb is right there, he wanted to entertain the tourists that were coming into this big beautiful cemetery. So he would stand right about here in front of his tomb and play the accordion. Now, the cemetery contacted Roy and said, hey, we made a mistake. You were not supposed to buy this plot. This is not a plot that is for sale. So I'm sorry, you're gonna have to move your crypt. This is not a plot. We made a mistake. Well, he took him to court, and obviously he won the court case because his plot is still here. And they put in a little memorial here about Roy being the Mr. Accordion, and he would play the accordion. So he died in 2003. He passed away. And here he is. Oh, wait a minute. No, he's not here. Yeah, this story has some more to it. This guy was a veteran. So he is laid and buried at Camp Butler National Cemetery, which is a few miles away from here. And he's buried there. So what is in this tomb? Is it empty? What a waste of money, right? Well, they said, hey, you got to put something in this tomb. So the family put his accordion in this tomb. So Roy's accordion is in this tomb when he passed away in 2003. And I'm telling you, I can see why this isn't really a plot. I mean, it's right on the main thoroughway, and it's right here in block number 30. So that's Roy Bartelli, Mr. Accordion, here at Oak Ridge Cemetery. Look at this. This is John Riley Tanner, a former governor from 1897 to 1901. He was the governor of Illinois. And the plaque here says, known for fair treatment of organized labor and African Americans, donation from both groups helped build this monument. Let me give you a little story here about Mr. Tanner. Mr. Tanner was a farmer in Clay County. Mr. Tanner had an unfortunate dispute with an in-law back in the day, and he ended up shooting that in-law. So he went to trial for murder. Yeah. And they got him off. He got away with it. They freed him off of an appeal from the court case as we're looking at this beautiful, beautiful mausoleum. He became the sheriff of Clay County and worked his way up through the ranks to be the governor of Illinois from 1897 to 1901. And Mr. Tanner ended up dying before he could run for his second term as governor. I love the dome up on top. This thing is majestic and just so amazing. Now, he had over, I read something, 35,000 people came to his funeral because he was a good governor. He ended up being a really good governor. He balanced the budget. He stopped a war. So he made peace, and he organized a couple of, let's see that thing that says, he organized fair treatment for labor. So he was a really good governor. He was very respected in the political community and the state of Illinois. He did have some, he wasn't perfect. He had some disagreements with other politicians in the area, but whatever, everybody does. So this two groups came up with the money to build this huge mausoleum for Mr. Tanner, and it is right at the footstep of the Lincoln Memorial right over there. So it's set right, so when tourists come and looks at that, they can see Mr. Tanner's tomb here. And it is an open door tomb, and you can see a bust of Mr. Tanner right there. So it's got open air here. Nice mustache for Mr. Tanner, and there he lies. Looks like he was born in 1844. He died in 1901. So yeah, he got ill before he could run. He was governor until 1900, so he just passed away right before he could run for a second term. Here's the interesting story that I found on Maddie here. W.H. Rayburn was a Methodist pastor, a bishop, Methodist bishop. He had a wife, family, children, but then he met Maddie up here. He met Maddie, and the scandal went all over the church, and he actually got kicked out of the church because he had an affair. He ended up leaving his wife and family to live with Maddie, and he ended up marrying her shortly after that. But he kept preaching. But he preached a different way. And he ended up getting a lot of followers following him, and they preached a lot of self-love and orgies and stuff. So it was a very controversial religious sect that they developed, and they had a bunch of followers. They ended up traveling all over the world, Europe, Asia. And then Maddie got sick, and she ended up passing away. In 1891. So what they did was, the town folk of Springfield at that time really stuck their nose up at this couple because of what they did, how they lived their life, of being very just bad, not living the Christian life. And when she passed away, Mr. Rayburn had this big monument built and had her put up on top, kind of as a snobbish kind of, we're constantly going to look over your little town here forever. And Maddie is still up there looking over Springfield, kind of like a middle finger, so to speak, and just kind of a in your face kind of deal here. But the story aside, it is a beautiful monument of Maddie up there. Quite a beautiful monument for Bishop and Mrs. Rayburn. There's her tombstone. Now I don't see W.H.'s Rayburn, Mr. Rayburn's tomb anywhere around here, so I'm not sure where he is, but gorgeous. The thing about this cemetery that I've noticed is the train horns. You can hear it in the distance. They must have to cross a bunch of railroad crossings because the train horn goes on for like maybe 15 seconds. Every time a train comes by, you hear that. So it's quite a noisy place here, but still quite beautiful. We're walking up to the red clay tomb of Alson Stafford. He went to sea, and he had a tragic accident where he was crippled. And he settled here in Springfield, and he became a merchant and a all-around city man, just involved in city council and a merchant. And now he lies here at Oak Ridge Cemetery in this beautiful, beautiful red clay tomb here. It really sticks out of the ground here. It's really gorgeous. Very nice. And you can see the name is kind of worn away a little bit. 1889. Now there are some holes in here. I don't know. I'm gonna put the camera in one of the holes and see if it comes through. Try to look in them holes. I can't see anything, but it's a beautiful red clay monument. It's in very good shape, I feel, right on the hill here. I'll tell you, Oak Ridge Cemetery, if you want to come to a cemetery that has history, this place has history in every corner of the cemetery. And I want to point out a couple videos that I'd like you guys to check out if you want to hear some more history. You know how I'm not really the history buff, you know, it's kind of a weakness I have on my channel. But if you want to see a great video on the history of this cemetery, go to Grave Explorations. Look for Oak Ridge Cemetery. He did this cemetery about 8 years ago. He's got a great channel. He's really good at history, and he looks at a lot of these tombs that I looked at and a lot more. It's just a very good historical video to watch if you want to hear some history of Springfield and history of some people buried here. The other channel I'd like to kind of point out is Middle-Aged Bald Guy. You know, I love that guy's channel. He's got a great channel. Now he went into the Lincoln tomb and he did some video footage inside the tomb. I'm gonna try to get in. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get in today. It might be closed for some reason. So I'm focusing on other monuments in the cemetery today, but go to Middle-Aged Bald Guy, he just made the video maybe a month ago. Go to his channel, look for that video, Oak Ridge Cemetery or Grave Explorations, and look at his video on this cemetery if you want to get some good history on it. So, all right. Now this here's a really interesting part of the cemetery, and of course everybody shows you this when they come to this cemetery. I'm to the last two things I'm going to show you today is Abraham Lincoln. This of course was his first vault that held his remains from 1865, May of 1865 to December of 1865, and you can actually see inside there, and there's nobody in here. So I'm going to end the video here at Abraham Lincoln's tomb. Majestic mausoleum and tomb for Mr. Lincoln, very tall. And they have stairways, but they're locked up. But I think you can walk up there when it's open. But very huge and majestic tomb here for Abraham Lincoln. This is the bust of Abraham Lincoln. And you can see the nose is shined off because everybody rubs his nose for good luck. But now they kind of have a rule not to rub his nose because it is wearing away.
Well, the main plan, actually, they want to get rid of that Jake because their friend is covered with food.
So here it is. Got all kinds of statues here. Bunch of statues. And this is the actual tomb that he's in. Now he's not actually in that tomb. He is actually buried way beneath this tomb. He's not actually in that because he's buried in the ground underneath, and they just put this here. Pretty interesting. 10 feet below, see? 10 feet below, he is buried beneath that bed. And then Thomas Todd Lincoln, 1871. And Edward Baker Lincoln, 1850. William Wallace Lincoln, 1862. And his wife, Mary Todd, 1882. This is quite a place. I'm glad I got to come in here. Just kind of goes around the square here. Kind of guys get the gist of it. Just kind of walk around the square. You can videotape, I hope. Very interesting. That'll do it from Oak Ridge Cemetery right here in Springfield, Illinois. I'm excited I got into Lincoln's tomb. We'll see you guys at the next amazing tombstone.